Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Let me know if anybody is having repossession problems of motorcycles or cars that you have owned. This is going to happen. We've been talking about it. We've been seeing it coming for a while. And now we're looking at some crazy stats like last year, 15,000 auto repossessions per day, surpassing the numbers during 2008. It's expected to pick up in 2023. For all you people that have been waiting, been exercising patience in purchasing a new vehicle, this might be an opportunity. Now I'm going to get into what we're looking at and some stats with EVs and just a little bit of everything. What's going on in the auto industry. Hey, Carlos. Hey, Lusky. Hey, Charger. Mopar, thanks for being here. And then we're going to talk about some things we can do because there will be people in your life that gets their vehicles repossessed. That's just the way it is. Every time I drive down the road, I realize everybody on the road's got a nicer vehicle than me. It's nuts. I don't spend my money on real expensive vehicles. I try to buy assets that pay me to own them. And I think assets are about to get cheaper. So I'm just waiting, like a lot of us are. Now, let's start with what losing your car does for you, how it affects your life. I got a few things down here. Your ability to pay rent, mortgage, credit card bills, stimulating the economy. You know, that's all part of this as well. And some people, you know, there's a lot of predatory lending going on. There's a lot of this keeping up with the Joneses that really pushes people to buy new vehicles that on average are $48,808. That was June. It was last June. That's the average new price for a vehicle. Average new vehicle price, sorry. Only 8% of new cars sold for under $30,000. So there's not any cheap new cars left hardly. Used car prices now have slightly declined from all-time highs, averaging $27,147. I sold my extra dually. I had a King Ranch four-door, four-wheel drive, and it was sitting there, and I used it to pull the camper and stuff that, you know, I just thought it would be a good time because they were expensive. It's the only time you really know to sell anything is when they're expensive. It's time to sell. I sold it, had 160,000 miles on it. I sold it for $20,000. Maybe it's $21,000. So somewhere in there around there, 19 or 20, I think. I don't remember. But that was pretty good, I thought. But now, just as we thought, the prices are starting to come down because there's more supply. We're going to see that in just a second. Used car prices have slightly declined. The average price of an electric vehicle has dropped 20% in the past year. EV sales have grown 50%. So the prices have dropped. The sales are going up for electric vehicles in the first half of this year, compared to 10% for internal combustion engines. So combustion engines are up 10%, while electric vehicles are up 50%. I was talking to my dad a while ago, and he said, I was telling him the story, and he's bought a Toyota Corolla that's like 15 years old. And he said, do you think you could drive an electric vehicle for 15 years and it be reliable? Who knows? I doubt it. Not for the price you paid for it, Dad. Okay, the average monthly payment. This is really wild. The average monthly payment for a new car is $725, while for a used car is $516. Now, car sales are expected to reach 15 million this year. That's actually up from the predicted 14.1 million. So they're expecting more new cars as demand is probably about to go down. People are starting to hurt. And now the wholesale prices for these cars have declined in the last 3 months, so that's going to bring on potential price drops. Global car production is expected to exceed 6% this year. Now I wrote down the average new car interest rate was 6.6%, and the used was 11.6%. So financing a used car is very expensive. So you have to take that into consideration. And that's about it on the the new prices. Now the auto loan delinquencies. Auto loan delinquencies is now higher than during the Great Recession, with 80% of cars having an auto loan. 80%. That is wild. We don't have a car loan. Average auto loan for used cars has increased by 50% in the last 3 years. From all the stimulus, from all the easy money, from the perpetual bubble, the bubble blowing. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And now we're really starting to see it fall apart. 39.3 million used cars were sold in the U.S. in 2020, with an average loan due value of 125%. Have y'all heard about the Harley Davidson story? Harley is having trouble getting all of their repos, and there's a little bit more to that story other than there's just so many. Because if you could fog a mirror, you can get a Harley, a brand new one. All you have to do is walk in the door. You don't have to present anything. You just tell them, hey, I make this and I make that, and they'll give you a Harley. Now, this is off of the Harley Motor Company Repossesses. It says pandemic roots. Unfortunately, the Harley, during the pandemic, many motorcycle repossessions companies, the company that did the repossessions, left the industry and never returned. So the lack of recovery agents has Harley scrambling to find a willing and able professional to repossess bikes from delinquent buyers. I don't know how many they've got, but I can only imagine how many it could be. And who in the heck would want to repossess a Harley? Can you imagine pushing out a big old 800-pound Harley from somebody's garage at 3 a.m. in the morning? That doesn't sound like a very safe occupation. Not one I would participate in. A lot of those Harley riders, it's like their child. They really take care of those motorcycles, and I wouldn't want to be caught doing it. And that's probably why there's a shortage. Okay, there is a few things you can do if you're getting repossessed. If you know somebody that this is happening to, here they are. There are a few ways to get a vehicle back from repossession. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about some of the legal actions you can do. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, what you should do is not get into that predicament to begin with and live within your means, as bad as that sucks. If you try it for a while, it'll get easier. And if you're trying to find a new car right now, maybe just hold up camper. I got some buddies buying campers. I got a buddy selling one. He's taking a haircut on, which that's okay. He does good on everything else. But, and I got another buddy in the market for one. I told him, trying to get people just to hold up, just wait. We're getting close. Okay. The lender may voluntarily return the vehicle. So that's what I would recommend. Not return it. Wait a minute, I'm not saying that. Not just right off the bat, because some people need it to get back and forth to work. But you can, if one of my tenants would reach out to me and say, hey, I'm having a hard time. I've got this happen. We had some people with some health problems. Please, can you work with me? That is the way to go 100% of the time. So that's the first thing you should do. And there's some other shady things in here that I am going to share with you. But you may voluntarily take it up there. Paying the reinstatement fee. All that is you pay up to date and probably the next payment, and you pay for the repo fee. So if they came and got it and you said, hey, I want my car back, you can go pay it up, and then pay the repo fee and you can get it back. It's called reinstatement. You can file Chapter 13. Bankruptcy immediately returns the vehicle. That is, heart hurts to say that, but there's going to be a lot of those. But the good news is, I guess you get to keep your vehicle. Suing the lender or repo company is an option if your rights were violated. And I'm going to go over some of those rights in a minute. But just remember, there's lawyer fees and all that involved. You can stop the vehicle being possessed. You can object to it. You can stand in front of the car. They cannot touch you or move you. I'll get a little more of that in a minute. But you can physically say, stop, don't do this, whatever. But if you've been letting the pre-repossession notices slip by you and you're not doing anything with those, there's a good chance they're probably going to take it when you're not looking, and it doesn't matter. But when you start getting these pre-repossession notices, if you'll contact them, and there's usually a clause in there that says, I want to go to court. You can ask for a court date. That'll give you a while. That'll buy you some time to find another vehicle, buy a moped, whatever. So there's that. Negotiating payment arrangements with the lender. And like I said in the beginning, talk to them. Find a repossessed vehicle. No. Okay, you've got 40 up to 30 months before they're going to come get it. That's every state's different. So just know that, and it gives you some time. Now, the car repossession process involves repossession attempts. They have repossession letters, and then they'll have some attempts, and then once they get it, they're going to auction it off. And nobody wins at the auction. Okay, that's just the person that gave the loan is getting the car, and they don't really want the car. They actually want the money, and because they're going to take it to the auction that already has a surplus of cars that we were just talking about. So they might want to work with you. They might say, hey, we'll work with you. A lot of this isn't very good. That's all I really want to talk about, because voluntary repossession is what it is. Okay, the repo men, they cannot touch or push you. If you're in front of the car, they cannot move you or hook up to a tow truck while you're in it. So if they're there, stay in it. I hate to do that. Actually, do the right thing. Just take it up there and talk it out with them. That's going to work out way better for everybody. Trespassing on someone else's property without their knowledge is illegal. Repo men cannot be deceptive or pretend like they're police officers. That's a big one. They cannot lock you in the car or surround your vehicle. I can imagine some of these repo men get out of the boundaries every now and then. If they do, that's when you get a lawyer. They can be held liable for damages and may have to pay statutory damage penalties. After repossession, I'm going to get to you guys' comments in just a second. After repossession, repo men cannot keep your personal belongings. I have not known that to be the case. I mean, they're not supposed to, but I've seen some cars impounded and that were just ransacked afterwards. Promptly requesting your belongings should result in the return without fee, but I wouldn't bank on that. Creditors must send a letter notifying repossession and disposal plans. These rights are important, and legal action can be taken if repossession was illegal or abusive. So there's a lot of things you can do, but it all goes back to the first thing. Do the right thing and don't get in a bind in the first place. But if you're there, it's a lesson that you won't forget. You won't forget it, and be upfront about it. Contact them, work it out, get a payment plan. Now, let me get in the comments. No way I'd be a repo guy either. No way. I've been trying to pay $100 a month on my side-by-side payment, which is less than half of minimum payment. I told them, take it or leave it. It's just all I can do. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. That's a bummer. They might work with you. They actually might. Make sure you call them and talk to them is what I would do. Currently working on a foreigner I got for free, blown head gasket. That's cool. Do you have any questions for me, guys? Yes, M&J. Please hit the subscribe and like button. I appreciate it. How can I purchase a repossessed Harley? I don't know if I have that paper in front of me, but I'm going to say repossessions go to auctions. That's just how it works. So I know I used to buy some stuff from Copart. That's a salvage auction. You can do a quick Google search and find auctions around you. Some of them you have to have a dealer's license, but all you really have to do is go to a dealer near you and say, hey, can I use your license? Can I go? And then you buy it through your license. I've done that before. So that's an option. And any other questions? I didn't want to buy a Cobalt, but it was all I could afford back in 08. Still got it, and it's paid off. Yes! It's just transportation, guys. Good luck to those that paid $80,000 for a Bronco. Yeah, some people can afford it, you know. Some people have set themselves up with, you know, that kind of haircut won't hurt them. If that's what you like and you've got money, then spend it on that. We need those people to stimulate the economy. I'm serious. When all this starts happening, it directly affects the economy, goods and services, and everything else. The car industry is just the first one to fall. And really the Harley repos were the first ones. That's like the bellwether you would expect to see, the very first one. And now we've seen that back in April. And then now all of a sudden, last month or two, repos keep picking up. Now it's worse than 2008. And this is going to be supply at these auctions. Now, how long are you going to have to hold on to that car if you plan on flipping it? I don't know. It probably depends on how good of a deal you got on it. There's always, if the deal's good enough, you can sell it. So, and there might very well be some out there. Look up JDM cars. Japanese imports. They're older models. Huh. Never heard of that. Buy extra filters and oil in your cars. That's a good one, man. I just got through buying extra filters for everything. Lawnmower, my tractor. When I buy one, I go ahead and buy a couple extra. And I'm going to need them. Let's see, oil, anything you need like that. I bought a case of two-stroke oil. The oil stays good for a long time. I did notice my diesel tank was getting a little bit low. And that's kind of a bummer because when you have a big tank, you don't really want to come out for a quarter of a tank. And I say big, 500-600 gallons. They really want to come out and fill the whole thing up. So it puts you in that, the area where you're not prepared anymore. Does that make sense? I don't feel guilty owning a new Ram. You shouldn't be, man. You shouldn't feel guilty. This isn't to make anybody feel guilty. This is just, there's a lot of people that are belly up, and there's about to be some deals. And I want to talk about that, but I also got to talk about what to do if you're getting something repossessed, because that is going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot of people. Can you imagine? Single mom, 2 or 3 kids, loses their job, and now what? And I wouldn't be surprised if it got so bad that whoever is manipulating the Biden administration did something, some kind of, I can't imagine that on cars, but everything's on the table. I mean, there's no telling, because this is already worse than 2008. Think about that. Parts vehicles. That's a really good idea. Man, that's a really good idea. And I haven't done that. I probably should. When I sold my Ford King Ranch, I actually bought a 7.3 diesel, older, more reliable, low miles, and that's just what I'm going to drive. And when this debacle looks like it's at the bottom and it looks like there's cars everywhere, that's when I'll probably get a little newer diesel. Maybe, we'll see. Might not even need one. I don't mind driving old stuff, guys. It's like it's so simple. It's one small thing you can do to not owe anybody. I hate owing people. That's the trick. How can you get in a bind if you don't owe anybody? Come up with some food, enough money to pay your electricity bill, maybe, some fuel. So we talk about it all the time. Cut your wants aggressively until we get by the end of this year, we'll be in a recession. More than likely. I hate to do predictions because I'm always wrong, but it's coming, and it's imminent. I mean, something like that. It's coming for sure. But be ready. Mike, jobs provided, brand new Chevy Tahoe. Okay. Time for a couple more questions. I don't keep you guys too long. You got anything for me? Think there's a depression? Fire for effect? 85 F350. Man, those are good ones. Stay with old diesels before the emissions regulations. That's right. Even if you're familiar with George Gammon, back when I first started watching economics on YouTube, he was there, and he was collecting diesels, Ford 7.3 liter diesels. And I thought that was ingenious because that's what I've always drove, and because they're very reliable. And it's just like you said, these other vehicles, in my opinion, without the right computer chips and all the stuff it takes to complete them, with prices being $70,000 for a new dually, something nutty, it just makes sense to buy one that is reliable, that will run forever. We don't know about these new EVs. We know that the new F-150 weighs like 3,500 pounds more being electric. Nobody ever talks about that. Can you imagine how much harder it's going to be to stop? I think we got a little ahead of ourselves on these EVs, or the green weenies did for sure, because now that's all they want to build, and the numbers don't work on keeping them going, considering gas burners you can get really cheap and they don't run out of battery. And you got to put a little fuel in them, real fuel, diesel or gas, that stuff that burns. But can't be a climate denier on YouTube. I'm telling you, you can't go on any of the media stations, any of the legacy news. If you deny the climate, you're not following the science. So I'm gonna have to start being careful about talking about that, even though it is put in the comments if you know what the climate thing is. Climate change. What is climate change? Sum it up in one word and stick it in the comments. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. You guys have an awesome, awesome day. I'll see you in the next one. Later.